Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Who Are You podcast. I'm your host, Connor Overbay. If this is your first time checking out the podcast, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're always happy to have a new listener or new watcher wherever you guys are taking in our content. Thank you very much. Make sure you guys check us out on all of our social media. It's going to be at Who Are You Pod from everything from Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook. You guys know where to find us nowadays. And make sure you guys like and subscribe on YouTube. You know, the YouTube channel is growing, and we're very thankful for everybody who's supporting us. So thank you guys every single time you guys like, subscribe, comment. Helps the show get bigger and helps it get seen by more people. So make sure you guys give us a follow, subscribe, all that. It's going to be Who Are You podcast. You guys will be able to see all of our stuff on there. But today, I'm sitting down with a very, very special guest. I don't even know if you really need an announcement. I was say, people have seen your face. I've seen your face for a long time. You know, all the work you've been doing in Jacksonville, whether it's events, you know, working with the Hispanic community and helping bring in the people out here and through events, through just awareness in general. But today I'm sitting down. I'm going to say this right. You guys are about to hear this. Yanira Cardona.
Yay!
Correct? Hey, I got it. But first thing I want to say is thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule. Come sit with us today. You know, we've rubbed shoulders a couple times. Just hadn't had a chance to actually come up and formally introduce myself, but was super excited to sit down with you today.
Yeah, I'm excited and honored to be here with you guys. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. And I'm sure
accepting.
And I'm sure you guys see the wife is sitting with us today. So there's something new in the 2025. I think Shan's going to be the new official co-host of the show. Ooh. You guys have seen her on the show enough times where we do our Sunday hangouts, doing our thing, and she always has great questions. She's like, "Why didn't you ask this at the end?" And I was like, "You know what? That's a good idea. Let's sit down. You can have your perspectives. I can have my perspectives,
yes.
And, you know, just add another thing to the show."
It's always good to have a woman's perspective.
Oh, 100%. You know,
I feel like I'm a lot more animated than him as well.
People try to say I'm all businessy. I'm like, I'm fun. I just, you know.
I'm not saying you're not fun. I'm just saying I'm more animated. Like you'll be
like
zoned in watching someone, and I'm like all these facial expressions and behind the camera. So.
But before we get too deep into the conversation, where can people follow you, check out your content, and everything else that you got going on?
Sure. On Instagram, Yaya Love Jax. Yaya, what the Y, Y-A-Y-A, Love Jax. And that's on Instagram, on Facebook, because Facebook is still huge for the Hispanic community.
I still use it all the time.
The minority community. It's Yanira, Yaya Cardona. And those are the two main ones that I'm on. I'm with you. I do have TikTok, but I don't really use it as much as I should. And I'm not on Twitter like that. I'm on Twitter to follow all the Real Housewives. And I'm a Bravoholic. So I'm literally go on Twitter just so I can read the drama. So
I need to start doing that.
Yeah.
I never use Twitter.
She's a Love Island fan. Like, she loves all those kinds of shows.
Twitter is so good to like follow up the drama and the nonsense of people. Like sometimes when I watch an episode and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, let me get on Twitter and see what people are saying. And like,
yeah, anytime a season ends of Love Island, I'm like, okay, where are they now?
Yes, I'm like that too. But yeah, so basically Instagram, Yaya Love Jax. And my business one is Yaya Productions on Instagram, where you could find the events that I have going on. So my personal one, I do highlight everything in my life, my personal and what's going on in my career. And then obviously Yaya Productions is just for the events that Yaya Production produces.
Of course. And you're so busy. That's the thing. Like, I see every time, like, I'm always seeing content getting put out or things that you got going on in Jacksonville. And I absolutely love that. You know, seeing people who actually, you know, uphold the community here in Jacksonville and not just like a naysayer, not someone who says we can't do this stuff. You're like, we're going to find a way to go set this up and being a voice out there, you know, for the minority group. It's huge. Yeah.
Well, we're becoming, we are the biggest city land-wise in the United States, and we will become the biggest diverse city in the whole United States. The fastest population that's growing is Hispanic. Right now in the census, it says we're 11%. I think we're easily between 13 and 15% in Jacksonville already. Wow. And other minorities are coming in here. We have a big Nigerian population. We have the biggest Filipino population on the East Coast is here.
I learned that
in Jacksonville to the point where they're going to open an embassy here pretty soon. Wow. We have a huge Bosnian population, Ukrainian population. So we will become the biggest diverse city in the whole United States. So it's time that we embrace it. we accept it. The people that are coming here are opening businesses, are entrepreneurs, are family oriented, are a little bit more conservative compared to your minorities that live in Miami and Orlando. The ones that are coming here a little bit, like I said, more conservative, more family oriented. They're all about like starting a business, leaving a legacy and all that. So, I'm proud to be able to kind of help them and get them the resources, not just events. Obviously, I'm known for my events and organizing events. But what people don't see is the behind the scenes, all the other work that I really do,
of course,
which is connecting people with resources, connecting them with grants, connecting them with not just city opportunities, but other opportunities that are available here in Jacksonville that a lot of people don't know about. So that's what I like to be. I call myself a community champion.
I love that.
I know people love to call me an influencer, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? But I consider myself more a community champion.
I totally agree with you. Like just doing that outreach, and obviously, you're the Hispanic outreach coordinator for the city of Jacksonville. That's a huge honor, a huge title here in Jacksonville, and getting to work with Mayor Deegan.
Yes.
I've seen her, sing your praise a couple times now. What has it been like to work with, a new administration coming in, and all the different changes and all that kind of stuff? What's that been like for you?
It's fun. I never in a million years would have thought that I'd be working in politics, government. More than anything, politics. Because what you guys see on TV and movies, it's real.
Oh, I believe it.
And I'm learning a lot. It's not something I want to do forever. I'm in it now. I'm very blessed and grateful. Mayor Deegan, I'm going to ride with her as much as she will let me ride this wave with her. But I'm learning a lot about government. I'm learning a lot about how the city runs. Yes, I'm the Hispanic outreach coordinator, but I'm doing more for everybody. I'm just making sure that they understand. I know my role is for the Hispanics, but right now, I'm updating the resource guide for the city, and it's supposed to be only for Hispanics, right? It's supposed to be the Hispanic resource guide, but I'm actually just doing it for in general, which will be available in Spanish. It'll be available in the other languages as well, so that way when these minorities come to us, we'll be able to here's a resource. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Here's a resource guide.
That's awesome.
And not necessarily just in Spanish. So.
Of course. And that's great that, you have that foresight to see, obviously it's not just English, not just Spanish, as you said, Jacksonville's a melting pot of everything. And, through sitting down with people here, as we were talking about before the podcast, most people aren't from Jacksonville. A lot of people are transplants, including my wife and, a bunch of other people I've had on the podcast, and, a lot of people from other countries. Yeah. And I find that to be the most interesting thing.
Well, we're a military town.
Very true.
I think people tend to forget that. We're a military town. We're Navy, Army, and Air Force. That's 3 bases right there. So you're going to have people. I'm here because I'm a Navy brat. Yeah. Believe me, I would not be in Jacksonville. Okay? But God brought me here. My dad got stationed here my senior year. And I've been here on and off since. And a lot of people that I know are because of that. Were military and they got stationed here, or they have family that was military and they stayed here, and so now they're moving up here to be with their family because there's more opportunities here. So it's great to see the diversity grow here in Jacksonville. I remember when I first came here. Man, I came here to visit. We lived in Panama, and we had some family. Our neighbors got stationed in Jacksonville, and we came in 1998 here on Kernan. They lived here on Kernan, but this was not. None of this was obvious. Not even the Walmart was here. It was straight up country. And I remember my dad said, "Oh, we got stationed to Jacksonville." I cried because I was like, I don't want to go to the country. Yeah, because first of all, I was in Puerto Rico, and we are a party city. We're a party island. We look at the glass half full, not half empty. Every single day, every weekend, there's some kind of festival, some kind of party you could go to. So in the school that I went to on base, we we would get out of school at 2:20, and our school was right next to a beach.
That's awesome.
So we would get out of school at 2:20, go to the beach, hang out, have a party, and then take the after school bus to go home.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Like, you know, and if you play sports, I play sports, so you play sports. But if not, then we would have a party at the beach. And it was just an amazing time. And so when I moved here my senior year, it was so hard. I moved here to Sandalwood. I got
Go Saints. That's right.
nobody walked me to my class the first day of school. And so, of course, I was late to class because Sandalwood was huge.
Yeah, big old circle. You had to figure it
Teacher
out.
sent me to the dean's office, and the dean gave me detention.
First day?
The first day. Like, that was literally my first, 15 minutes in school.
Oh, my God.
So I called my mom, crying, what did you guys do to me? And so my mom came up to the school and was cursed the dean out. And, of course, I didn't get detention.
Sandalwood's one of those places, though. I can understand. Was Miss Margie there when you went to?
I'm bad. Don't ask me names.
You're fine.
I don't remember any names.
She was a security guard there, and she was the cool security guard. So, there was many times I should have got detention, and she was just overbay, you're fine, do your thing.
I mean, when I went to Sandalwood, it was considered an F school. Now I think it's considered an A school, which, go ahead, Saints.
That's right.
When I went, since I'm Puerto Rican, my locker was in the Hispanic hall.
Oh, it was like that?
Yeah, it was like that. And it wasn't on purpose. It wasn't I want to be no, they were oh, okay, your locker's here. Come to find out, it was a Hispanic law. They had a hall. They had an Asian hall. They had yeah, and it was so crazy. I've never in my life experienced anything like that.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, and it was a whole, and at that time, Sandalwood had the mixed lunches, so it wasn't separated. I think it was 2 years later is when they separated the lunches. So it was crazy drama and fights all the time.
It was the same when I went. It's just without the ethnic mix, cutting up or hiding.
Oh, but I think it made it even worse, because it was you couldn't hang out in this hallway if you weren't from their culture. Was. I never experienced anything like that, and so
Sandalwood is a wild place. I tell her stories and tell people stories of what my high school experience was, and they'll look at me I don't believe you. I'm hey, I'm not lying. It's just high school was high school, and Sandalwood has a reputation. It just does. It's gone better. My brother goes there now. He's 15 doing his thing, and apparently it's gone better. But I just remember that, like you were saying, lunchtime, there was always something. Always some drama, always some kind of fight.
Honestly, I feel like that's all schools, because lunchtime, everyone's okay, now I have
that's the time that everybody wants to show off.
Right.
One time, this girl wanted to fight me because her boyfriend liked me, although I had nothing to do with it. I didn't like the guy. I had a whole boyfriend in Puerto Rico still at that time, and she wanted to fight me, and I was and I've never had that problem before, because my school in Puerto Rico, when we went to school on base in Roosevelt Roads, the whole high school was 500 students. My class alone was 60 students,
Wow.
And then when I moved to Sandalwood my senior year, my class alone was 800 students.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Yep.
So it definitely was a shock for me. And it's crazy because I could have graduated that summer from before my junior year that summer. I could have graduated, but I wanted to experience high school in the States because, you watch the movies and you see them and, they can wear their belly shirts and stuff like that. That was not like that.
No, you got that fingertip leg. You got to have
if you had to slit your jeans.
Shoulder.
And I thought oh man, I thought my school in Puerto Rico was bad, but no, I was in a movie. My school was a movie out there when I think of it, and everybody that went to Roosevelt Roads, no matter what year they went, they all say the same thing. Because it really, we had a pool, so we had, we had our school was a courtyard. So when you get out of class, you were outside. Our lunches were outside, so our food was real food, like rice and beans and chicken, and you know what I mean. It wasn't what you have
Square
here.
pizza.
No, you had your grandmas and your aunts in the kitchen in Puerto Rico cooking, and so
awesome.
you have real food.
Well, that's the main thing. Like I love about like whether getting involved in other cultures or meeting other people is through food.
Yes.
And obviously I know you're a foodie yourself, and like when it comes to that, I feel like sitting down having a meal with someone from another country or another place from you can kind of tell you the story of them.
Yeah,
I
you get to know them.
Exactly. I remember. I have a story for you. I remember when I was doing pest control. It was very impactful for me. Like I remember coming home and telling Shannon. I was, spraying someone's house, and I go into the home, and the people are from Jordan, the country of Jordan. I was like, oh, okay, interesting. Maybe their customs were a little bit different than they are here. So whenever I came in, I would make sure I was respectful because, maybe the husband does the husband things, and then the wife does the wife things. You know what I mean? So I made sure, I was respectful of that because I didn't want to be disrespectful and not even know I'm being disrespectful. And I remember towards the end of it, they were like, hey, would you like to sit down and have a cup of tea with me? And me being American and not understanding, at first I was hesitant. I was like, someone trying to give me something in their home, maybe kind of weird. And then I was like, Connor, stop. You know what I mean? So I sat down with them, and to be honest, they were sitting here asking me what I think of like what their country is like and what I've heard on the news from their country and vice versa. And it was very refreshing to listen to them talk about what they see over there compared to what they are, what it really is here. And the father was talking to me about, going to Britain to go to school and, traveling to other countries to get educated rather than staying in wherever they're from.
Yeah.
And then talking about the struggles of getting their family over to the United States and just kind of going back and forth. And it was very impactful. I sat there and listened to him, and I was like, I'm glad I sat there and took the time. It was 20 minutes out of my time, and it was amazing.
I think a lot of minorities are like that. If you do something for us, even if we're hiring you to do something, we're going to treat you well. We're going to offer you water. We're going to offer you food. Excuse me. I remember for Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico, I say this all the time because it's one of my favorite memories. When I was in waiting for gas one day, we were waiting 13 hours for the gas truck to go to the gas station so we can all put gas in our car. Although, why do we need gas in our car? Because we're all at home. But whatever. It was at least for us something to feel normal, right? At that time. And we were in line, like huge line. Obviously, you can only imagine. And the lines would go into the neighborhoods. And the people outside of their homes would come out and offer us water and bread. And the time that they didn't have to, and the time they could be selfish because you're in Hurricane Maria and we didn't have anything.
Of course.
It was hard to get bread at that time. And they would be coming out and offering us a little bit of water, a little bit of bread and coffee. And that's just something that minorities are. It's not just Hispanics. I think anybody that's minority, it's like that's our culture. I don't know why the American culture is so cut dry like that.
Yeah, it's weird.
Because even that again, while we were waiting in line, besides them, come offering us food and water, the people were outside of their cars having a good time, talking with other people. The kids were playing. You would never see that here in the States. Everybody would have been in a bad mood in their car, honking the horns. No, they were outside talking to each other, parked their car. Well, we got to wait. What can we do? Like, it was just so refreshing to see that attitude. And that's something that I know here in the States, it would not happen.
And that's the thing that's weird is, you see movies from like back in the 60s and 70s. That's how it was.
Yeah.
You could go to your neighbor's house and ask for a cup of sugar, whatever like the scenario they had back then. And it's weird how we've really moved away from that, and like,
it's sad.
It is, I'm not personally religious myself, but like I do agree, like, help thy neighbor,
100%.
Be a part of your community. It takes nothing, if you have excess, what's it to lend a helping hand to someone
100%.
who's in need and, be there for people,
But it's sad. You'll hear about people all the time about domestic violence situations, and the neighbor then will later on be on the news, be like, oh yeah, I heard the fighting and all that, and I just didn't want to do anything. Like, well, that's terrible. I hope you feel bad for the rest of your life about that. No offense, but like, and it's not about, people are into this whole like mind your business culture. No, there's sometimes you have to get your nose a little dirty and I remember one time, oh my God, years ago, I was a little crazy, but I'm like this. I was at a red light on St. John's Bluff, and there was a couple arguing, and he was driving, and she was the passenger seat. And all of a sudden, he starts punching the hell out of her.
Whoa.
And the light turns green, and he is driving, like, still hitting her. So, of course, I did a U-turn and followed them. I'm honking the horn so he can see that I'm seeing, and I'm calling the cops like, hey, this is this car. I'm not going to leave until, you come handle this situation. And And of course, my mom's like, "You're crazy. They could have killed you. You don't know if those people have a gun." I would rather die a hero knowing that I tried to do something about it than knowing that that person died and I didn't do anything about it because I was too afraid to like get into, like too afraid to like help.
No, I thoroughly agree.
I'm okay with that. If I lose my life trying to save others, that was God's plan for me, and I lived a great life so far. God, don't take me away yet.
But no, I thoroughly agree with that. And I had a situation somewhat similar. I remember I was talking to her on the phone, and I saw a car accident happen in front of me. I was at a light. A car was coming in, and another car was turning across, and someone just blew through the light, hit the people on the side, spun them out all the way. It was in Bay Meadows, if I remember correctly. God. And I immediately hopped out of my car, and because the car went into a ditch, so I get over there. There was a young girl up front, shattered her leg. So me and 3 other people were getting them. The dad, unfortunately, passed away at the scene.
Oh my God.
Like, we were trying to pull him out, but he had cerebral spinal fluid coming out of his ears.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was rough. It was a rough night, but if we weren't there and no one saw it, they would never caught the person.
100%.
Like I testified in court for them. And these are people I didn't even know. You know what I mean? It's just like that's the right thing.
Just doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And it's not about being a rat. Because we were like, I'm not a rat. No, there's a difference between being a rat and doing the right thing, people.
Yeah, I would hopefully, like, Shan's had a couple car accidents. She had one very recently, and thankfully she was hurt and shattered like both of her wrists and everything. But luckily, behind her was a nurse and an off-duty police officer.
There's 3 people that all like stopped and were like, "Are you okay?
Yeah.
Here's my information."
Thank God. Yeah.
And that's
how it should be.
Exactly. Like, we are a community. Even though I may not know you, doesn't mean I don't care for you or I want to see anybody get injured.
Yeah.
It's just, be a person. You know what I mean? You don't need something back from someone just because you helped them. Just know you were a good person that day and you helped a family out or a person out. It's simple things like that.
I live in a duplex and I know all my neighbors. And we're all like, we know each other, and God forbid something happens. So it's just good to know your neighbor. God forbid something happens, and it's good to know them. It's good to know them and have them on your good side, not on your bad side.
No, I thoroughly agree. And like, I feel like your network is your net worth. Obviously, I know you probably feel similar to that. And I've seen you at many events from whether it was the Safe House or I've seen you at the JPU events with Botter and all them. Shout out Botter.
Yay.
They're awesome people.
That's
I love
my brother.
Hey, I love him. I would say I love him. He's actually been a guest on the show before too.
I love it.
Yeah, really enjoyed him, and they've actually been very helpful with the show. To be honest with you, I could ask him technical questions because all this stuff is learned. I had no video, audio background, nothing. I just sat down one day and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. And
that's great.
We started it. And just getting to meet all these people who are doing amazing things in Jacksonville, I think it's cool because a lot of people don't know about Jacksonville. It's kind of like it's like a kept secret here in Florida. And now people are starting to hear more about it, whether it's through athletes, through music, through art. Jacksonville's exploding. Like, half this shelf is artists here in Jacksonville. And you saw shout out John Hawkins, say Modern Slow. You saw his painting here. It's just, I love the people here. And that's the thing is, like, I'm excited to see Jacksonville continue to grow and with help like yours and everything. I did have a question for you. So out of everything that you have your hands in, what is the one thing that you are most proud of that you've been able to, experience or help out with, whether, any of that?
I truly love connecting people and with resources and opportunities. I love mentioning people's names in rooms that wouldn't be mentioned otherwise. I think besides my festivals, a legacy, I created the first ever Hispanic Heritage Dinner for the city of Jacksonville. That's going to be happening now yearly.
Wow.
And obviously Viva la Fiesta, the only Hispanic festival here in Jax. I have the chalk art competition. But I think, like I said, connecting people with opportunities, it's my favorite thing. Like Venezuela Malca is a nonprofit foundation here that teaches traditional dances from Venezuela, but they also do more. She teaches kids Spanish. So if you're, when you're born and raised here in the States, it's kind of hard for parents to continue to teach their kids Spanish. And so she has that in there, and she does after school programs, and she does so many things, Venezuela Malca. And the Jags was looking to do a halftime show with some kind of Hispanic traditional dancing. Yeah. And they reached out to me, of course, and I was so happy to be able to connect them with that opportunity. And that was something that that they've never done before, something that the Jags have never done before, and it was national. It was aired,
exactly.
it was aired nationally for them. So it's just stuff like that is what makes me happy, is being able to connect people, organizations that never worked before. For example, First Coast Hispanic Chambers, with Cultural Council, and then they got together and they ended up putting a mural in a school.
That's awesome.
I had nothing to do with the mural, but being able to connect them and be like, hey, there is a Hispanic. Thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
It's that weather.
You're good.
It's definitely it's good to see the outcome of like when you connect people and you see the resources and you're like, oh man, that I played a little bit of a part in that.
That's huge.
That to me is what I'm more proud of than. I mean, I love my events. They're my babies, of course, right? But I love being able to do that. Obviously, I think also being on Donna Deegan's transition team for arts and culture and entertainment. And we were able to create that grant, the $750,000 grant for artists for $10,000. And that got approved. So be able to say, hey, we played a role in that. That's pretty cool. But more than anything, like I said, it's just really connecting people and being able to see the outcome of like, if I connect these two people, like, oh my God, like,
No, I thoroughly.
That to me is exciting because that's what we need. We need people to work together, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel because there's probably someone else out there already doing the other half of the work that you're looking for. You just have to partner with them and do good things. Do things with the good intentions. I always tell people, if you do things for the intention of becoming famous, if you do the intention of for money, and I'm not saying we don't, because we all need money, right? But if you're just doing it because you're money goal and oriented, I feel like those things hold you back, and you won't truly be successful because you're not doing it for the right intentions. Exactly. Your purpose is, you're doing it for right intentions. So I think when you do things with the good intentions and you connect people, like that's what makes me happy.
I love it. I think that's a beautiful thing to do. Like that's one of my favorite things is, when we have someone on this show and I see them on all the other podcasts in Jacksonville, I'm like, I love that. I love to see, people are getting the recognition, but also making the connections, Connections are huge. I wouldn't be here, or Shannon wouldn't be here without help or, things falling the right way or meeting the right person that you have no idea who could change your life. And
100%.
It's an amazing thing.
Yep.
What do you think?
Oh,
I thought you had a thought on your face.
Well, no, I mean, I completely agree. Is like a lot of people, when they see something going on, they'll like look if others are watching, if they're going to do something or not. And I completely agree. It's definitely wrong. So doing things with right intentions, and it's what makes the whole community just prosper. I think, like, if you can come together and do all good for your community, not 100%. For yourself, not for the attention, everything will just flourish.
It works out. It aligns and goes well for the most part.
Yeah,
I agree.
And it sounds like you have a really large network. How have you come? Like, it's just been as your life. You're so bubbly and outgoing. You've met them.
Well, that is part of it. I work. My background's in radio. So I worked in radio since I was 17, and working in radio, I worked with a lot of nonprofits and different companies and small businesses. So I've always maintained that relationship with them, and just go into anything and everything that I liked. I didn't have to go to these networking events for the logistics world for Jacksport, because what the hell I have to do with importing and exporting. But I wanted to meet the right people who are in there. And because of that, I met people from PGA Tour when I went to one of those things, and that opened the door. So the way I built up my network was not being afraid to go into those industries that I have nothing to do with. But they still need somebody to reach the Hispanic community. They still need marketing. They still need public relations work. And so I I wasn't afraid to step outside and go into those circles that normally, like, I don't need to be in.
Know about? No,
I don't. But I remember in the arts, the reason why I'm very involved in the arts world. Thank you to my best friend Tony, from the owner of Create Jacks. Tony is a photographer, so he's a little shy. He's not, but he is. And he would invite me to take him to be his mouthpiece. I was his mouthpiece everywhere. I was the one that would like be his mouthpiece, awesome. Introduce him.
Did he come to a couple of the events I saw you at?
Yes.
Like with the camera and everything? Okay, I know what you're talking about.
That's the guy the tall Bosnian guy.
Yeah.
He would take me into these events that, he'd be like, hey, I have this event. You want to come? I'm like, all right, fine. I'm not doing anything. Let's go.
Yeah.
And I did. And I would meet the right people. And they see my personality. And again, when you're yourself and you're not trying to be more than what you are, trying to show off and be like, I'm Yaya and I do this and I do that. And you're just your genuine self. People like that and they respect that and they want to get to know you more than this facade that you try to put on.
Of course.
100%.
And I'm not a shy person. To me, like, I'm not afraid to go up to a CEO because I'm a CEO of a company, although I'm my only employee, but I don't care.
You're still CEO. That's all that matters.
I'm still CEO of my company.
That's
hey.
right.
So I always treated people like on the same level. I tell people who have small business, just because you're a small business, don't think like a small business. Like, think like you're a Target. You know what I mean? Like, think that you're bigger than what you are, and because you will be. And your mind, your energy will go to that. If you keep thinking you're a small business, I'm small, I'm local, you're going to stay there.
Exactly.
Mindset is a
big thing. So I always, when I met Shaq Khan, the owner of the Jags, it was like, cool. I met someone who, like me.
Yeah.
And I think they respect that. Like, they're like, I wasn't like, oh my God, how are you? How other people are. I was just like, oh, hey, what's up? Hi, nice to meet you. Like,
I'm the same way. I say, Shannon, it's funny, she'll come to social events with me. I'm the social butterfly. I'll go around, I stick out. I'm 6'5", so most people see me whenever I walk in. But, I'm the same way. I walk up like, hey, my name's Connor. Nice to meet you. And then, they'll ask what I do or, with a podcast 100%. And all this stuff. And it's just nice doing that. Everybody's a person. Doesn't matter if they have $1 million in the bank or if they have 1 million followers on social media, whatever it is. It's still a person,
100%. They want to be treated as humans.
Yeah. I mean, Shad Khan, that's a crazy one, to be honest with you. But he would be a very interesting man, like, just to pick his brain about
he's super
life.
Cool.
Yeah.
He's not as, his story, if for those who don't know his story is really, really interesting. I mean, he really came from rags to riches. And he's still humble enough where he doesn't need to be, let's be real, but he still is very humble. And if you meet him, he will talk to you and he's very open to answer whatever questions. And I appreciate that. And I feel like that's why people like that are successful, because they don't let money and all that get to their head. And they understand that, like, one day when they die, that this is all going to go, they're not going to take any of this richness with them. So
I agree.
But yeah, I think it takes you a longer way when you're humble and when you have that networking. I got into the art world because I really wanted to get in the art world. Jessica Santiago, I respected her. She's the owner of Art Republic.
Okay.
She's Puerto Rican. Over 55 murals in Jacksonville are up because of her.
That's
in
awesome.
Downtown, and the 20 murals that you see in Mayport Road is because of her. So I knew I wanted to work with her because I just was so like, oh my God, like, she's a badass. Like, not necessarily because I'm an artist, but just because of what she was doing. And then that's how I got involved in the art world. Was she took me on. I helped put on some events for her, and then I got to know the artists. And not just local, but international artists. And so, I think you just have to be able to, like, not be afraid to step outside the box and do whatever your little heart desires. Like, right now, I'm into crocheting.
I love it.
So I'm crocheting. I'm in my granny stage, and I'm finding my crocheting community. And that's what you gotta do. You just gotta find your community.
She loves puzzles. She has a whole big old puzzle table over there.
Listen, so my office, we do puzzling in the office. So when we're under a lot of stress, we have a puzzle where we all, like, go, like, daily. We're all, like,
do some pieces,
and it's great. Everybody has their own little niche. There's a community for anything and everything. Obviously, a community for podcasters.
Of course, yeah.
for a community for anything and everything, for gardening, for cooking, for scrapbooking.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing. That is a thing. And so you just have to find your community. And Jacksonville, we're very blessed that we have a lot.
With you being a female, did you ever find it a little bit more struggling or anything like that with being a female business owner? You know, I know that can kind of come in play. You know, some guys may be a little snooty and be like, oh, that's a girl, whatever. You know what I mean? Push you off to the
Definitely.
side. How do you kind of battle back against that?
Working in the entertainment industry more than anything is where I battled that.
Okay.
Because in the entertainment is a male-dominated world, and they look at females more as a sexual thing. Even if you're in the professional industry, they still will talk to you and treat you some kind of way. I've definitely been through that. I remember when I was a general manager for a reggaeton radio station in Orlando, the first ever 24/7 radio station in Florida.
That's cool.
There was an Arabic club owner that just wanted, like, he would not sign a contract unless I would go to the club and like see. So I was like, all right, fine, I'll go to the club. And of course, he had me there till like 2 a.m. because he wanted me to experience the whole VIP thing. And I was with my friends, and one of my employees was with me, one of my guys. But then at the end, he had to like wait, and then he's like, "Oh, well, come on, I'm gonna shut the club down. We can still party." I'm like, "You need to sign." Listen,
Yeah.
This wasn't a party meeting. It was a meeting.
Yeah.
I came, I saw, conquered. Now I need you to sign this contract. And of course, he's like, "Babe, and beautiful, and darling, and baby, this," and it just got to my nerves so bad that I was like, listen, if I was like, no disrespect to you, like, I appreciate your kindness, but if I was a man right now, would you be calling me baby? Would you be? I was like, let's keep it professional. Like, we're talking about business now. Once you sign this, call me baby all you want. But right now we're talking about business.
Yeah.
There's not the time. And he stepped back and he was like, "Oh, I like your feistiness." And it's like,
Oh,
you know
God.
what I mean?
They just never get
They
it.
don't get it, but that's, I know how to deal with that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, I know how to give it back to them.
You have a confidence and
Yeah.
a backbone to you, obviously,
100%.
not to take that and let them walk over you. It's awesome.
100%. 100. Like, in one time dealing with this Chinese owner, and I'm not trying to, but this particular Chinese owner was just so rude. Oh my God, like all the time. And it got to the point where I told him, I was like, "You don't need to sign this contract. I don't need you as a client." Like, straight up. You're not making me rich. I don't need you as a client. Good luck.
Yeah.
And he was like so taken back, and he was like, "I'm going to call your boss." I was like, "Do so.
Please do. Yeah.
Please do. Call
Yeah.
him, let him know that he could come here and get you to sign this contract. I'm not doing this anymore." And, it's just a point where, like, as a woman, you have to put your foot down. And, but I know how to play the game. Because I know also how to, this is sad to say, how to use my womanish
Hey,
to
trust
get
me.
things too. You know what I mean? Like,
If guys had that same opportunity, we would do the same thing. It's just we can't flip our hair or
That
bat an
part.
eyelash or anything like that.
just wear a suit. We love men with suits.
Shannon loves my suits.
Yes.
You
That's
were
all it
clean
is.
shaven too.
Yes.
I am a little hairy right now on the face.
But if you see me with my red lipstick, you know I'm on a mission that day.
Heard that.
No, like I said, like I even made the comment before we sat down, like every time I've seen you, you're very fashionable, you know what I mean? Whether it's a dress or everything. I remember you had your dog with you last time too. I thought that was super cute.
Little Mambo's fashionable too. He has his clothes.
I remember doing like just going through your Instagram and seeing what you're about. I was like, is she a model as well? Because it doesn't say it in her profile,
No,
but she's got all these model pictures.
For my friends that are photographers, there's nothing. It just every once in a while we'll do some fun stuff.
Well, you do it great.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love it.
I tried to model one point in my life, but I like to eat. So
Hey, trust me, I'm the same way. I would
I
say.
like to eat.
I tried, and I'm just not tall enough, and you got to spend a lot of money to start too.
I used to have abs, then I had a relationship, got married.
That happily married.
Exactly,
that's what
very
it is.
happily.
Yes.
So if you had a piece of advice saying, if you could talk to your younger self, a young female, a young girl who is, whether new to the United States or just a young girl in general, what would be a piece of advice as someone who is a business owner, and what would you tell a young girl if she wanted to get into business or anything that you have going on?
Just don't be in a rush to go from A to Z. I've been working in this industry for 20 years now. And it's now the last 3 or 4 years that you guys are seeing me more out there, although I've been out there. So don't be afraid. Don't rush things. Mm-hmm. Start small. It's okay to start small. I know somebody right now that wants to do a festival, like a 3-day festival, and blah, 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 blah. They've never done this before. Don't do it. Do a 1-day festival. Do a festival for 5 hours. Mm-hmm. Start small where you can see how it goes and then build it up from there. But so start small. Don't be get yourself out there more than anything. Mm-hmm. When I moved back to Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria in 2017, those first 2 years was literally me going to the point my mom thought that I was making it up. She thought that I was making stuff up because I was living with my mom when I first moved back the first 2 years. She thought that I was making stuff up so I could leave the house, and I really wasn't. Coach Show Council used to have a monthly meetup. Every meetups, every networking event, again, even stuff that didn't make sense for me, if I knew that certain players were going to be there that would benefit me, I would go to it. So do your study, get to know your community. More than anything, get to know your community, because if you want people to support you, you need to support your community. I have support because I show up for my community. Like you guys see, I'm always out and about because I am supporting them. Yeah. Not because I want to be seen. I don't care about that. I mean, I don't have no makeup on today. I'm and there's times you see me, I'm down because I'm there to truly support, not for cameras, not for pictures, not to be oh, there's Yaya again. No, because I want to support what's going on. Yeah. And I want the community to know hey, this is, so support your community, get involved in your community, start small. And build your networking. That's really, really important. And don't just go out there to meet. People know when you have other intentions. Mm-hmm. When people are this girl knows that I work for the bank. She's just out here trying to be friends with me. So yep. No, people know. So genuinely build those genuine connections and get to know them. Yeah. Because once you have their trust, you can get anything from them. I thoroughly agree. Once they know that you're there not just to get that sponsorship money, but you're there to actually help them with their mission. If their mission is to get more Hispanics enrolled in whatever services or to get their businesses out there. For example, Florida Blue, they're one of my main sponsors for my event. Mm-hmm. And because I had to move Viva la Fiesta to December, their enrollment date, their closing enrollment date was December 15th. Oh, yeah. And Viva la Fiesta was December 14th because I had to move it for the hurricane. So what I did was I was hey, I'm going to create a reel where we're going to highlight you and talk about what your events. And that's what we did. We created a reel where I was hey, in Spanish, if you're looking for insurance companies, this is where they're going to be at. This is what you need to do. And because of that reel, they were able to get, they got a friend of mine who had a business, they signed up to get insurance for their company. That's awesome. And some other people. And so they were happy. And they're damn, Yanira, thank you. You didn't have to do that. But I needed to do that because they're my sponsor. They've had my back for years. And I felt bad that, unfortunately, they did have good results on Viva la Fiesta, but I just wanted to make sure that they will be happy with me and that they understand that I'm grateful for them. I'm not just taking your money to take it. Right. I want to help you also with your brand. So it's a partnership. It's a partnership. Exactly. And I think that's what people need to understand. If you're going to get a sponsor and you want to build that relationship, it's a partnership. Mm-hmm. So I have Art in the Park, my festival coming up, a chalk art competition. All of my sponsors have to have some kind of art activity in their tent. That's a mandatory thing.
Yeah.
Whether it's coloring, I don't care what it is. It has to be some kind of hands-on art activity. And so, like, I tell them, let's brainstorm. If you want to have a meeting to brainstorm our ideas, then let's do that. And we do that. So, you know, those are things that they see that we're not just taking their money. Like, I'm actually interested in helping you with your brand because you're helping me with my brand.
Yeah.
And it's a partnership. All my sponsors, thank God, have always sponsored me every year. If they cut back, it's because of how the world is. It's not because of me necessarily or the event. But yeah, so build those genuine relationships. Start small and build your network. Like, for real. Don't, if you're starting something, go out there. Don't be afraid. If you're the type of person that's shy, then get you that friend, like what Tony did with me, and bring that friend with you that's not afraid to be a mouthpiece. Yeah. And to hype you up and talk about what your services are. So, you know, and right now with this internet and all these services out there, there's ways to start. You don't have to have a website. Yaya Production doesn't have a website. Yep. I've never had a website. Yeah. I've always used Facebook as my landing page. So that excuse of, I don't have a website, I don't have this. Those are all excuses that you're making for yourself.
Just start.
Start.
That's what I tell people.
100%. And you're going to fail. And it's okay if you fail, because then you're going to learn what you did wrong so you could do better. Failing to me is not a bad thing. I'm like, all right, bet, let's go. And now, I don't even like to say this, but Viva la Fiesta has been so smooth. The last, I've done 6 of them. The last, 3 of them have been so smooth because I learned what not to, from the mistakes from the first 3. And literally, people are like, oh my God, it was just because I know now what not to do and what to do. So when the day comes, it's just so easy for my vendors, my people that work with me that day, because it's just, we know what to do and not to do. So, and it takes time. So it's okay to fail. Yep. It's okay to, and invest in yourself too, people. I hate this thing of, I spend money on social media, on sponsor, on boosting events, on Eventbrite, on all that. You have to invest in your company. You have to invest in equipment. Viva la Fiesta, I don't make money off of Viva la Fiesta. I don't lose money, but I don't make money off of Viva la Fiesta because everything goes back into the festival. Exactly. So, and that's why it's so successful and bigger every year. So you have to invest in your company. You have to invest in yourself. People are like, oh, I don't have money to invest in a tent. Then save the money. Save, a pop-up tent is like $250 with your logo and everything. You could probably get it cheaper now.
That's going out to eat less one time a week.
100%. Do the sacrifice. If you're serious about your business, if you're serious about your brand, then do that sacrifice where you're going to have to cut back a little bit so you can purchase that $500 mic that you want and all that. So, invest in yourself, invest in your brand, start small. I think that's the biggest thing. People constantly come to me and they're like, yeah, I want to do this event. And it's like, I am like, dude, I don't even, have the capacity, the energy to do that.
I understand, yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to crush people's feelings because I know some people are like, oh, you saying I can't do it? No, I'm not saying you can't do it. You can. Yeah. But let's just start a little small where you can learn, and then from there build up. You know what I mean? The Miami Food Festival was not a week festival. The Miami Food Festival started off with you going to restaurants on one weekend. That's cool. It wasn't even now it's like a huge international food festival. It's one of the best food festivals around the world. But he started it small. Yeah. And it's taken him years to get it where it's at now.
You got to crawl before you can run, 100%. Before you walk. And like I said, it's with anything. Starting off small. You know what I mean? Like, me and Shannon had a dream. I bought this soundboard right here, 2 microphones, and we had a glass table right here.
Damn right.
I used to record off my phone. I make clips off my phone and everything. And, it just builds up over time. And as you said, invest in yourself. I saved up money for a long time just to be able to buy a camera. You know, just taking the time. We were getting married, had all that kind of stuff going on. And, just invest in yourself. And as you said, the networking thing. One very impactful night was that art critique night. Because I'm not an artist myself. This right here is my art.
Yeah.
You know, talking to people and stuff. But sitting back, I just sat in the back of the room and just listened because it was interesting to hear other artists talk to each other.
Yeah.
And how they, you know, not even critique. They're not like getting on them or anything. They're like, you know, this is how the painting makes me feel.
Yeah.
Or maybe next time you're doing this, hey, maybe try this. This is a new form that I tried or new material that I tried that may work better for you. And I found it very refreshing. And I've met people, big artists that I didn't even know were big artists, like Elena. I forgot her.
Yeah.
I met her for the first time.
Olander.
Yeah, I walked up and just like shook her hand, didn't know who she was. I was like, hey, how you doing? I'm Connor and stuff. And and then I like, she followed me on Instagram. I looked through her. I was like, wait a second. I didn't realize who I was talking to there.
Yeah, we have some big artists here.
We do. And she, knock on wood, she may be coming on the podcast in a couple of weeks. I reached out to her a couple of days ago.
She
awesome.
just had a show.
Yeah, and she just came back. Was it Japan? She did a whole thing in Japan.
Yeah, she did a workshop in Japan for a couple of months. I'm really proud of her. It's fun to see. She's on the committee for Art in the Park.
Oh, really? Okay.
She was on the very first one. I remember when I did the chalk art competition the first year. I'm very blessed. The reason why I was able to get like these good, well-known artists the first year was because of me working with Art Republic and all the work I've done in the art world. So again, that goes back to building your network.
Yeah.
So when the time came for the chalk art competition the first year, you know, we had Christopher Clark, we had Elena Allender, Roosevelt Watson, Grace Bio. Man, we had a whole bunch of amazing. I'm sorry, don't get offended if anyone I didn't mention.
There's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, Marcus William. We had all of them. They were like, yeah, we'll do this for you. Let's go.
That's awesome.
And now we're going to our 5th year, and they're on my committee, and they're my judges and all that. So, yeah, it's all about like building your network and investing in yourself.
I agree.
Very nice.
Got a question?
Well, one thing I noticed, you just this last year, you got 40 under 40.
Yes.
How did that happen? I know it's for your business.
Yeah.
Like, tell me about that experience.
And that's so crazy because 40 under 40, typically, like, I think I was the only one that had my own business. Like, everyone else, like, worked with some kind of corporate or, you know, bigger company.
What is 40 under 40 for?
It's Jacksonville's business journal. It's like a recognition.
Okay, gotcha.
Every city that has Jacksonville business journal, they do that.
Okay.
So it's like it's just a really nice recognition that you get from the city for the work that you've done in your career. And so I did it, obviously, I got it for Yaya Productions, and that was pretty cool. I got nominated before, but I got the nomination like late because I'm the worst at checking my emails. Oh my God.
So I have a problem.
I've had to get better at that too.
Yeah. And so finally I caught it. And so I filled it out and all that. And that was pretty cool. It was very honored to receive it and to know that I think I was the only one, again, that had their own company. You know, that I wasn't, you know, that's even more of a recognition because it just feels good to know that my little company, Yaya Production, it's being recognized.
Yeah, it's huge.
Next to like Florida Blue and next to like other big businesses, people from Mayo Clinic and all that. And then you see Yanira Cardona, Yaya Productions, and it just feels good.
You should be proud.
Like
That's amazing.
Even when I made High Tower, which is like another. I want to. Don't get me wrong. I feel like it's like a fraternity for businesses. I can't explain it. You have to apply, and they only accept 17 people per year.
Oh wow, that's
it's
cutthroat.
Very challenging to get in. And when I got into it, I was like, oh my God. And to see like Yanira Yaya Productions next to like Miller Electric and next to like Brooks Hospital. And I'm like,
some big names.
Yeah,
those
like little Yaya Production is sitting on a round table with like all these. It just feels extra good. And it feels good to be recognized by your peers that like the work that I'm doing. Because sometimes, not sometimes, I do a lot of work for free, a lot. To the point where my mom was like, why are you doing this for free? But it's worth it to me at the end because God and the universe and the community always pays me back in other ways. And it just feels good to see that sacrifice that I've done just being recognized by my peers. It feels good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, as I've said so far today, it's been an amazing conversation sitting here with you. And like I said, one, thank you for everything you do for the city of Jacksonville, our home here. You know, we love to see, and we love seeing people being brought together. You know, it's a beautiful thing to see. Like, there's so much division in the world. It's nice to see when people can come together, smile, laugh, not think about, you know, other BS that's going on in other parts of the world. So, like I said, thank you for, you know, your time today. Thank you for, you know, sharing a bunch of stories with us. Like you said, we greatly appreciate it. We always have one final question. Anytime it's someone's first time on the podcast, we always ask them this question is, do you feel successful? And if you do or do not, in what ways?
I do feel successful. Not in a rich kind of way, like I have money or anything, but I feel successful because I'm leaving a good legacy here, and I'm opening doors for others that probably weren't open. And I feel like I found my purpose, and that's why I feel successful, because I feel like I found my purpose in life. I feel a lot of people haven't been blessed in that sense, like they're living in a world in the zombie land, I want to say, like they're just working this 9 to 5, and they don't understand why they're so unhappy with life. Is because you're not living your purpose. And I think when COVID was like I hate to say this because it's so bad, but COVID was like a blessing in disguise, because it pushed people to realize that, one, life is short, and two, they're not doing what they're really happy.
I agree.
So like a lot of people left their industry, a lot of people, because they started that podcast. They started a podcast because they started writing their books, because they started doing their art, that they've always wanted to do art, and now, you know, they're an artist. So yes, I feel successful because I'm blessed that I found my purpose in life, and I couldn't have asked for anything more. Maybe for a husband and more money.
But no, there's a reason why I asked that question is because everybody answers it differently. That's the main thing, because some people bring up monetarily, some people bring up spiritually, they're happy, or their relationships and everything. And I think it's interesting. Every time I ask that, everybody answers it differently. So and it kind of just shows you what's important to some people, you know? Yeah.
Money, I don't consider having money success, because money comes and goes. I think a lot of people need to understand that.
Doesn't fix all your problems either.
It doesn't. Nope. At all. I think Bad Bunny is a great example of that right now. Bad Bunny, but he's so huge with this album that he just threw out, and he said in an interview that in his last concert tour, and one of the tours he was at, he had to leave the stage literally in the middle of the concert because he was so depressed.
Really? And
he was just so depressed. He needed to go back home, and that's what he did. And it just shows that to people that money is not everything. Yeah, it can solve your problems, but it will not bring you happiness. I think when you find, like, again, your purpose in life is when you find true happiness, whether that's having your own lawn company, having your own podcast. You know, you shouldn't, to me, again, this is my personal opinion, if you define success as money, that's a problem.
I agree.
That's probably why you're unhappy. Yeah. Switch that mentality where, okay, what is my purpose? What am I meant to be? You know, what am I supposed to be? A karate teacher? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, maybe that's, you know, maybe that's your purpose, is to teach kids how to do karate, self-defense and stuff like that. So I think when you find your real purpose is when you are successful and truly happy.
Yeah, I say you can't take those dollar bills with you. One thing you can leave here when you're gone is memories.
100%.
You know, like, my main thing, like, if people are standing over my casket one day, you know, I'd much rather them remember me not as a rich guy or, you know, snooty or whatever it is, a guy who is nice, a guy who is helpful, you know.
Open platforms. And tell people stories.
Exactly. Like, this is, I say this all the time, is I'm hoping this will be an audiobook for our child. You know, like, when we have kids, they can see what their dad was like when he was 22, 23. And, you know, whenever we were getting married, we literally did a monthly episode where we'd walk them through the process of what we're dealing with. So, like, this is very personal to me. Like, I love, and I'm very open about this. Like, one of our sponsors is BetterHelp. They help with, you know, it's teletherapy. Okay. So instead of having to go to a therapist office, you can do it through Zoom, and, you know, you can change it up if the person's not right for you. Because we're very big on mental health here. You know, like depression. You know, I grew up up with it, still have to this day, and I'm very outspoken about it because a lot of men don't like to talk about their feelings. I don't care. I'll tell you if I cried. I don't care. You know what I mean? I think it's good to put that out there, and there's other people who are probably going through the same thing
100%.
with you. So I think that's what, sitting down and having people as like yourself tell your story, it helps other people, kind of put pieces together, or maybe it just brightens their day. And that's the only thing I could really ask for.
Thank you. And thank you for that. I think it's good to share it so people can see, like, although on social media it looks like we're perfect and we're, because nobody posts their problems on social media.
They all share the highlights.
But exactly. I have problems too. I have bills, and I also cry, and I also go through my depression states.
Yep.
Right now I'm going through this weird funk right now. I don't know what it is. And a lot of people don't know that because I do wear my feelings on but stuff like that I do hold back.
Understandable.
But I think that's normal, right?
Very true.
Humans are like that.
100%. Yeah.
But I also don't let myself go down that rabbit hole. And when I need the help, I'm not afraid to tell my friends, like, hey, I need you guys to show up just for me, just a little bit more than the norm for the next couple of weeks. I'm not afraid to say that either. But it is sad that we live in a society where we want to pretend to be so perfect because everybody on social media is so perfect with their perfect bodies and all that. That's why I went to Puerto Rico. I was showing you all my cellulites and all my stretch marks and my little fat tummy. And I don't care because I'm happy like this.
As long as you love yourself, that's all that matters. That's all that matters,
100%.
And there's a man, woman, whoever, out there for you. You know what I mean? It's just... You gotta love yourself before anybody else can love you.
100%. You truly have to love yourself before, and even parents. I know I'm not a mom, but I tell this to my mom friends all the time because I think they get lost in their mom world. I'm like, if you're not happy first, your kids are gonna feel that, and they're gonna learn how to be fake happy. And you don't want them to teach that. So it's okay to put yourself first. It's not like you're a bad mom.
Yeah.
You're still gonna be a great mom. But if you find yourself that, like, man, like you're in that, mom, go to Target by yourself. Go outside, have a spa day. Go to Starbucks by yourself. Do something for yourself to make yourself happy, because your happiness should come first before anyone else's happiness, including your kids. There's nothing. Again, you're not a bad mom. Just because you put your happiness first, people, okay? And you're not a bad dad, too, just because you, like, obviously don't put your kids on the side, but,
Yes.
So just make sure you're happy with yourself, because all of that people will feel that. And I truly am happy with myself. I'm going through this weird funk, but I'm still happy with my life. I'm still happy with myself. And that's something that, I try to output all the time, because the world is sad and we're going through a lot. And I think even the earth energy is sad right now. I'll be real with you. I feel like earth is sad and we're all feeling it. But we can't let that swallow us. We can't, like I said, go down that rabbit hole from Alice in Wonderland. We have to, I always tell people, cry it out for 1 or 2 days. And then after that, get up, go outside, go get that air, force yourself. Because, people tell me all the time, they're like, oh, you always seem like you're happy. No, there's days that I'm like, and I do. There's days I do stay home a lot. But those days where I find myself like in that funk, I'm like, no, Yanira, you're not going to stay in this house any longer. Get up. Let's go. Call your friend, go shopping, go walk the bridges. We're very lucky to live in a city with bridges, rivers, and beaches. So take advantage of the outside for sure.
No, I agree with you. Say Shannon knows my signs. If I get quiet or I'm like a little standoffish, that's not me in any way. I'm very much a jovial person, happy, goofing around kind of thing. If I get quiet, she knows something's wrong. She's like, what you thinking about? What are you in your head about? Or something like that. And that's where I'm lucky enough to have a partner who recognizes this. And I could tell her, even if it's some real deep, dark thoughts, she knows that it's just me talking it out with her kind of thing. Yeah. And I think it's great that you have that support system through your friends and other people as well.
Yeah.
And I think it's beautiful. So my final thing is, if anybody want to get involved with you, whether it's through social media or anything, whether it's your production company, all that kind of stuff, what is the best way for people to get in contact with you?
Instagram. I'll be honest with you.
Hey,
Instagram,
I love it.
Yaya Love Jax, YAYA Love Jax, JAX. that's the best way to contact me. You can reach me on my email, yaya@yayaproductions.org. If you have any inquiry about like partnering or anything like that. This year, I will be giving a workshop on how to create events from scratch, like from getting sponsors to everything. It's not going to be too expensive, but it won't be cheap either, because these are for people that are serious about it and, you know, really want to do this work. And so that's going to be coming out this year pretty soon. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, those are the best ways is Instagram, Yaya Love Jax, and my email that you could find that also on my Instagram.
Gotcha. Well, y'all, make sure you guys go give her a follow, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you guys, you know, go to one of her events or you are involved with her in any way, shape, or form, and you guys found out about her through the Who Are You, let her know I sent you. You know, I love when people collaborate with the people that we have here as guests and everything and help make those connections as much as possible. And as I said, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
It was great to finally get to sit down and talk to you for a little bit. And I'm sure we'll definitely be rubbing shoulders, other
100%.
events and everything. But before we get out of here, y'all, make sure you guys give us a like, a follow, a subscribe, a comment on all of our social media stuff. It's going to be at Who Are You Pod from everything from Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, all the normal spots. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel for all of our video content when it comes to our video interviews and all that good stuff. It's going to be Who Are You podcast, and you guys will be able to find everything on there. And then my final thing is, if you feel like you'd be a good fit for the show, you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, an artist, and you feel like you'd fit well here and you have a story to be told, feel free to hit me up on the social media, or you can email me. It's going to be whoareyoupod@yahoo.com. And maybe we'll have you guys on a future episode. But as I say every single week, y'all, thank you so much for checking us out, and we'll see you guys next week.